Alrighty guys, so you'll be excited to know that the newest Darth Vader issue is finally out after many months of delays. Now we can enjoy Darth Vader getting back to Naboo for one specific reason, and we all know what that is. It is Padme Amidala. The return of Sabe marked a very trivial time for Darth Vader, who was reminded of everything he wanted to forget. Now with Luke Skywalker and Sabe in his life, he wanted to dig deeper, know more about the love of his life, Padme Amidala. Naboo was as lush and as green as ever. Darth Vader was on the fields, reminded of back when he was Anakin Skywalker frolicking with Padme in that beautiful time. But Sabe was not wasting time. Down below in the river, there was a secret passageway to the data tapes and recordings that Sabe had obtained many years ago and now had hidden underneath. Darth Vader and the droid did not waste any time. Going up the stepping stones, they entered a very familiar room. At least it was very familiar to Darth Vader, the dining room where they had spent many a times with Padme Amidala. We saw this in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where Anakin and Padme had the time of their lives. In fact, it is right here when they first started to fall in love, and the burden of keeping it hidden was getting more and more hard by the minute. While Sabe and the droid were talking about the data tapes, Vader just lingered on, watched the table as he was speechless, basically being reminded of a beautiful time in his life and how dark and twisted it had become now. But all of a sudden he senses danger. He ignites his lightsaber and tells Sabe to get down. Two mysterious figures start shooting at Vader, but he quickly deflects their bolts and uses the Force to subdue them. One of them was getting choked by Vader, but Sabe pleaded with him to let the person go. There was a mistake and Vader was adding to it. Without any hesitation, Darth Vader simply put down the person as instructed by Sabe. You might say that Darth Vader had a fond respect for Sabe and her likeness to Padme, but I think it is simply the means to an end. I think Vader is simply using Sabe by any means, not ruffling her feathers just in order to get to see Padme again. We get reintroduced to a familiar figure back in episode 2, and that is Captain Gregor Typho. In fact, that is who Vader was choking, and Captain Tora. All three of them served Padme at some point in time. Sabe was confused with both of them. She had sent the all-clear signal, and she was baffled as to why they attacked, but Typho made it very clear that when they saw her with Vader, they thought that she was under duress. Captain Tora, in fact, wanted to sacrifice himself in order for Sabe to escape at least. But as per usual, Darth Vader had had enough. No one attacks him and survive unless they prove to be valuable. He asks Sabe why should he let these men live. Because Sabe had given the secret security recordings to Tora and Typho, and in fact, it is these two that know where those tapes were hidden. What is more is that they had hidden themselves, but they were unable to decipher the tapes. They were encrypted in such a manner that it was impossible for them to do so. And this is where the forensics droid of Vader comes into play. He would be the one to decipher the tapes, and with Vader having relinquished somewhat his doubt, he disengages his lightsaber and lets these two men guide them to the tapes. Captain Tora now did the unthinkable. Inside this room that Anakin had spent time as, he opened a secret passageway, a secret door that led to somewhere incredible that Darth Vader would soon witness. As they were making their way down the stairs, Captain Gregor always suspected that Padme was murdered, and now he was glad that they were seeking her killers as well. Almost sarcastically, the droid even drew suspicion between all the assassination attempts of Padme Amidala and Captain Typho, who had always been around as Padme was in danger time after time. When Captain Typho became irritated and almost insulted by the droid, he simply said that the droid was programmed for forensics and analysis and he was merely collecting relevant information. Typho in fact explained that they had many attempts on Padme's life and they had lost many of their own. The handmaiden Corday, who gave her life to save Padme. And then there was Jedi Anakin Skywalker, who gave his own life a few years later. Darth Vader was stunned at that moment by hearing that name. He asked when did they last see Padme. It was during Order 66 while the clones burned the Jedi Temple. She insisted on flying to Mustafar alone and said that it was personal, said Captain Typho to Darth Vader, who knew exactly what happened that day. Typho should have never let Padme go that time, and Darth Vader just stood there silent, contemplating inside that not only was it hard for him to hear these things about Anakin Skywalker and Padme, but he drew more and more suspicion that these people already know too much about Padme and Anakin. At some point in time, Vader is going to have to deal with all of them. I would love to go in even more further detail about it, but the video is already too long. This is about halfway in the comic, so I will leave the second and final video about this comic issue to be uploaded tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But this one was the new release of the third issue of the Darth Vader 2020 Ghosts of Vader's Past, and it couldn't have come at a better time, honestly. Things are starting to open up, and things are starting to get released. This comic issue, in fact, was slated to be released in April, if I'm not mistaken, but it was delayed for several months until now, July 29th. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies, stay tuned for the video tomorrow. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you guys until then.